Good morning, Year 4. Welcome back to another day of online learning. First up, we will start with English. I hope yesterday's lesson went well. We're going to basically continue on with that lesson onto some noun groups. But first, I thought I'd go through a run through of the spelling. So on the screen, I have got your spelling worksheet, because there's been a few questions in particular from my group about some of the spelling activities. So I'll just go through a run through. So these are your spelling words here, okay? On the Monday, you need to write the words in alphabetical order, which it says here. So everyone's been pretty good with that. You just write your words here in alphabetical order using whatever strategies you need to use. I personally look at the first letter of each word and then the second letter and so forth, which I'm sure you're all doing. The next activity is rainbow words. Okay, so that's where you need to trace over the different letters and different sounds with different colors. And then in this box here where my clicker is, you split it into syllables. And then in this column here, you do your look, say, cover, write, check, which we're all pretty good with. Wednesday, you're looking for definitions for each word. So, you've been given 2 lines for each word, okay, just in case the definition's a bit long. And then the Codebreaker activity, let's have a look at that. It's all Morse code. All right, so each letter has a code next to it, all right, and all the codes are different. So you need to pick 5 spelling words. So for example, if I pick the word complex on my piece of paper, if I write down complex, just like that, what I do is, first of all, I go to the letter C and I look at the code, right? So there's the letter C and there's the code there. So I do a dash, a dot, a dash, and a dot. Then I go to the letter O and it's just 3 dashes. 1, 2, 3. Then I go to the M, which is just 2 dashes. 1, 2. Then I go to the letter P, which is down there, which is dot, dash, dash, dot, L, dot, dash, dot, dot, E, which is just 1 dot, and X, which is dash, dot, dot, dash, just like that. So I've just written the word out as a code, okay? Just a little different activity there, okay? So that's Thursday or Friday's activity, okay? So hopefully that makes things a little bit clearer. All right, let's jump into English on Tuesday, the 28th of April. So today, it's a bit of a complex one. There's quite a lot of instructions there. So we're revising concepts from yesterday's lesson, and we're going to reread the text Spaghetti Bolognese. So if I go to yesterday, and I go down, and I double click on the student analysis sheet, here it is. And you would have done part of this yesterday. You would have done the text structure part. We're now looking more at the language features part. So in your own time, well, first of all, make sure you have this sheet in front of you, and now you can pause the video and just have a reread over Spaghetti Bolognese recipe. Okay, once you've reread that, let's go back to OneNote. Let's go back to Tuesday. Let's have a look at the next instruction. So it says, Remember that names of people, places, and things are called nouns. Okay? So just keep that in the back of your mind. We got an announcement. On that note, yes, we are getting work prepared for next week. So again, it'll be the same process for next week on Monday in terms of coming in and collecting whatever work needs to be collected. But we'll be continuing to post next week's work onto the OneNote and sending it out as an email. All right, so we should all know what a noun is. We're pretty confident with nouns. What we have to do now is go through the spaghetti bolognese recipe and highlight all the nouns. So if you've got your highlighter on this piece of paper, read over the ingredients and highlight all the nouns. Okay? If you don't have a highlighter, just underline the nouns. All right? So you can pause the video now and you can go ahead and highlight those nouns. So you may have highlighted nouns. You may also have found that there were noun groups. So oil, for example, is a noun. It's a thing. But there's the word olive in front of it. Okay, olive in this context is used to describe the oil. It's used to describe what type of oil. So olive becomes a describing word and oil is the base noun. You might have highlighted both. You might have just highlighted oil. Okay, but they together make a noun group. Remember that describing words are called adjectives. So olive, in this case, is an adjective. Even though olive usually is a noun, in the context of olive oil, it is a describing word, which is an adjective. So what you need to do now is go through and highlight any noun groups that you may not have highlighted. So we've got olive oil. We've also got this one. I know onion is a thing. Okay, so I've highlighted onion. And then I know that diced describes the onion. It's not a whole onion. It's not a chopped onion. It's a diced onion, which means it's very thinly chopped. Okay, so diced is the describing word and onion is the noun. So see if you can go through and make sure that you've got all the noun groups highlighted. Okay, next it says identify, oh, sorry, we've just done that. Next it says create 3 columns in your English book and head the columns as adjective, adjective, noun. So you'll see an example underneath. So what I'm going to do, you can do this in your English book. You can do this on a piece of paper. You can do this on a Word document if you want to. It's totally up to you. So on my piece of paper, I'm writing very neatly adjective, adjective, noun. And then I'm just going to rule some lines down and across like that. So now I've got a table. Okay? So go ahead and rule up your table. Make it a bit neater than mine. Now let's go to step 8. We're flying through here. Step 8 says list the highlighted nouns in the last column, then list the highlighted adjectives in the middle column. So for example, I went through 2 examples with you, olive oil and diced onion. So I asked myself, what was the base noun in the first ingredient? Oil. So I write oil underneath noun. then what was the describing word next to oil, which was olive? So I'm going to write olive under the middle adjective. All right, I'm going to do the same for onion. I'm going to write the base noun, so we're sort of working from right to left here. I'm going to write onion here in the noun column underneath and diced next to it in the adjective column, just like that. Hopefully you can see that. All right, so you're going to go through and do that with all your highlighted noun groups. Off you go. Now let's look at what happens next. Let's go even further and see how many of these nouns also have specific amounts. So look at these specific amounts here. All of them except salt and pepper have very specific amounts. All right? And with salt and pepper, there's no describing words, are there? They're just nouns on their own. So if we look at these specific amounts, TBSP means tablespoon. Okay, you probably see mum and dad in the kitchen use that. G, not Mr. G, but the measurement G, which means grams. Clove, okay? So clove describes an amount of garlic. Cup, your mum and dad again have probably used cups, measuring cups when they've put water in meals or milk or sauce, anything like that. TSP is teaspoon, and that's basically all the main ones. So we've got specific measurements as well. All right, so they're very important in recipes, aren't they? So it says review how many of these all have specific amounts and list these in the first column. So if I go back to the olive oil, how much olive oil am I using? Is 2 tablespoons. Is that a specific amount? Yes. So I'm going to go to where I've written olive oil, and in the first adjective box, I'm going to write 2 tablespoons, and I'm just going to use the abbreviation, which is TBSP, just like that. Then I'm going to, with the diced onion, it's quite easy. Just going to write 1, okay? Because it's still a specific amount. It's still telling us that we're using only 1 onion. So, interestingly, numbers and amounts can be used as describing words, and they're all describing that base noun, which is oil and which is onion. Okay? You will find that with all of the ingredients except salt and pepper. So go through now and make sure that in your final column, you're adding in the very specific amounts. All right. How'd you go with that? Fantastic. You've now completed or created your own noun groups. Okay? So you should now have a few things done. Check that you've got all the nouns highlighted. Check that you've got all the noun groups, including the 2 adjectives, highlighted. Then, in the method, you can go through and highlight the nouns in the method. The nouns are all here, and they're all going to be the same as they are here. So as you can see, my first noun was oil, and I can see oil right there. So I would go and highlight that along with all the rest of the nouns and noun groups in the method. So check that you've got your nouns highlighted, check that they're all highlighted in the same colour or underlined. Then what else you should have is this completed worksheet. All right? At the end of the week, you can open up the teacher guide and that will show you how you went. Okay? And well done. You've completed your English lesson for today. And you've got a new recipe to add to your cookbook. Thank you very much. Good luck with the lesson. Hope you enjoyed and hope you got that done nice and easily. See you later.